Hi, everybody. It's episode 513 of PodQuest.
Hey.
It is Wednesday, June 11th, 2024. I'm Chris, with me is Druten.
Hello.
And Walnut.
Yeah, I'm here.
Are you alive after this weekend?
Yeah, I'm alive. I'm alive.
You played games for a long time.
It's only 15 hours.
That's all. Wait, is that really all it was? Didn't you go like 12 to 9 both days?
I was 12 to probably 8 or 9 on Saturday, and I think I wrapped up at around 7:30, 8 o'clock on Sunday.
I didn't realize you stopped earlier on Sunday. I thought you did the same.
Yeah, I wasn't feeling all too great stomach wise, and I was getting a little burnt out. And I was in I'm not going to go too deep into it right now, but I beat the game on Sunday and made it to Peach's Castle, and was at Peach's Castle for probably a good 2.5, 3 hours, getting a bunch of stars or a bunch of power moons. And I got burnt out, and it was like I was at 145 power moons for the night, and I'm like, let's just get 5 more.
So you actually hit the average that you're aiming for.
I hit the goal that I was aiming for. Although you can probably maybe make an argument that I cheated. I'll explain that later.
Okay. Congratulations. It seemed like it did go well for you.
It went very well. Y'all are funny, but again, I'll explain that later. But it went very well.
Good. Drew, how are you doing?
Not too bad.
Not playing AEW games, apparently.
Nope, I played it a little bit, but not enough to really give too much of a comment on it.
Is that a new one, or is that the same one that came out a while ago?
It came out last year, but it's free this month on PS Plus. So.
Oh, okay, that makes a little more sense then. I know. In recent years, wrestling games tend to not be all that popular.
I mean, the last 2 WWE games have been pretty well reviewed.
Oh, have they? I thought people generally didn't care for them.
No, they finally kind of got their shit together.
Well, good for them. Does the hair still look like shit?
I mean, in the AEW one, it kind of does, but like they're not going for a hyper realistic art style in that one. It's a little more cartoony looking, so and it plays like the old N64 wrestling game. So if people like those, they would like the AEW game.
Okay, that's fair. That is fair. Man, I am tired, guys.
Yeah, me too. Sleep is hard to come by lately.
Legs still bothering you?
It's not the pain, it's just I can't get comfortable in bed, for starters. Then on top of that, last Wednesday into Thursday, my dumbass dog kicked a hole into my window in my bedroom, and so I had to rearrange my entire bedroom. So Thursday into Friday, I slept downstairs in the living room. I was able to rearrange my bedroom on Friday, but my dog is very reactive and doesn't like being touched when he's sleeping. However, he leans on me when he's sleeping on my bed now. So Friday and a Saturday, I slept downstairs in the living room. Saturday and a Sunday, I walled him off from getting to my bed, which then I thought I made a way to where he wouldn't be able to get to my bed. It didn't, and he jumped. Eventually, at some point, after I fell asleep, he snuck his way onto my bed. And so that seems to be our game now, is I'm going to wall him off. But I also don't like doing that because it's not easy for him to get into the bed. So if he needs to get out of the bed, or if I need to get out of the bed, it means there's a doggy door right there, or a doggy gate, and I have to move it. And if, say for instance, he's being reactive while I'm trying to get up, but also at the same time, I only have one leg at the moment. So if he's being reactive while I'm trying to get up and I only have one leg, I'm fucked. It's been a pain. And it's just because of the whole rearranged bedroom, things are just not as comfortable as they were. So I'm just getting used to it.
I can definitely understand that.
Yeah. So it's a lot of trial and error at the moment. I'm considering I know he's older. He's 3, 4. I'm considering getting a crate to try to crate train him for bedtime. See how he'll handle that.
I mean, he's not too old for that. The crate training is it's hard because he's not going to like it. Yeah. And you kind of just have to deal with him barking and whining until he stops. Yeah.
It's something that I'd have to figure out where to put the crate, and I don't have any room in my room for a crate. I mean, I might have room for it if I rearrange again, which means I'd have to have my brother come over to help me rearrange and basically put something back where it was before he moved stuff. So it's a lot to do when you can't use one of your legs. And I have another 4 weeks of this.
Hey man, at least it's just 4 weeks, right?
On top of the previous 3.
Yeah, but now it's just
and a
4.
Half. Yeah, it's 4. We haven't hit the halfway point yet.
But you're almost to the halfway point.
Yeah, once
gotta look on the bright side.
Next Tuesday, I'll be like, all right, this is getting better. I'm sure, but it's also there's just been a little bit of discomfort in my cast and whatnot. It's just, guys, if you have a 2-floor house and your bathroom's upstairs and your kitchen's downstairs, don't get surgery where you can't walk on an ankle for 4 to 7.5 weeks, 4 to 8 weeks,
or be prepared to poop in the kitchen.
Right.
Trust me, I've thought about it.
Like, it's your house.
I thought about getting a commode and just pooping in a bucket and dumping it down or whatever, but no.
Ew.
That's what old people do. You poop.
That's still ew.
I know.
No. Anyway.
We
were supposed to watch a movie, but first, what's on the agenda?
We all watched Moneyball, or should have watched Moneyball. I also had the chance, part of the reason why I ended early, to watch X-Men Origins Wolverine. Then there's a boatload of stuff from Summer Game Fest with Microsoft, Summer Games Fest itself, and who did the other one, or was it was an indie showcase or something? I don't know.
So there were a bunch of them. I didn't, when I wrote down all the games, I completely fucking skipped Ubisoft because
who cares?
I don't think Ubisoft showed a single game that wasn't already shown.
Yeah.
Do they have games that aren't already shown?
Well, actually, I should rephrase that. I think they only showed 2 games that aren't out yet.
Yeah.
Like, they showed fucking the Avatar game that came out last year.
Wow.
Yeah.
They have nothing. But yeah, so there's Summer Game Fest stuff, and then we can talk about, depending on how the time, we can talk a little bit about my 3-year stream anniversary weekend.
Or at least, we'll at least consider it.
Yeah, we'll think about it.
But yeah, so what did you guys think of Moneyball?
I thought it was really good. I enjoyed the hell out of that movie.
Honestly, I'm a little surprised.
It's a topic I'm interested in. Baseball, just generic baseball. And on top of that, it was a topic I'm interested in where it's changing the game. Like, I was like interested in the whole topic of and everything. And one thing he said throughout the movie is no one remembers you unless you win the last game. And that's true, because here's the thing. I didn't know that they won 20 straight games in 2001.
Right.
I didn't know that. Like,
did you know that he was the general manager of the A's until 2015 and is now just like in the executive office somewhere?
I mean, it did say at the end that he continued to coach or continued to be GM for the A's. He turned down the Red Sox and continued to be GM for the A's. But this movie was released 2013. So
2011.
So it was, he hadn't retired, or not retired, but he hadn't gotten a promotion by then.
Yeah, and Jonah Hill's character, who I found out they changed his name for the movie, went on to be like, he's like some sort of executive for an NFL team now.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Drew, do you know anything about him?
I mean, I had heard the name. Like I know of Paul DePodesta, but I didn't realize that was Jonah Hill's character until I was looking it up. I was like, oh, didn't know that.
Okay. Yeah, like
no idea he worked in baseball.
Like, same. Like, I looked him up, and I'm just like, and like Jonah Hill's character's name didn't lead anywhere, but it was like in the Wikipedia page, it said the guy's actual name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
the thing about this is, like, it's a really good underdog story. Like, if this wasn't based on true events, this would be an amazing story in general. It's a really good underdog story, which is what I really connected with for some reason.
Well, and it's based on a book that apparently goes into some of the details more.
Yeah, I think they went into it a little in the movie that, like, is like the story based on the book, and then they went in the movie, they went over, like, there's a book that the coaching style or the drafting style is based off of.
Yes,
both.
So the movie is based on the book Moneyball, which is about Billy Beane, and Billy Beane's approach is based on, I forget the name of the book, but it's based on what's called sabermetrics.
Yeah.
because it's the statistical. I forget the exact what SABR stands for, but like a statistical approach to baseball records or some shit. But yeah, so he dove into that, or well, really, Paul DePodesta was really into that, which led Billy Beane to hire him and bring him in and go down that route.
So for any of the listeners who didn't watch the movie, I will explain a little bit of it because I have a question. The movie starts where Billy Beane, the main character played by Brad Pitt, is general manager of the Oakland A's. Right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. They lose the divisional series game of the previous season of the 2001 season, and he's shit out of luck because his three big players are free agents and are being picked up by other teams.
Because the A's ownership has no money.
The A's ownership has no money, which brings me to my question. And Drew, hopefully you can help me with this. Why is it so unfair that some teams have such a high salary cap and other teams have such a low salary cap?
Well, I mean, in baseball, there is no salary cap like there is in the other three major sports where however much money you have, if you want to spend it, you can.
Okay.
However little money you want to spend, you can. The players clearly don't like the teams that spend no money because it deflates their salaries overall. But
and they have to pay $1 for soda.
Yeah.
But yeah, unlike the NFL, there is no limit on how much an MLB can spend.
So in the NFL, does every team have the same salary cap, or does each team have different salary caps based on the franchises?
You all have the same salary cap, the same upper limit. Not every team spends to the exact limit in the NFL. Most probably get very, very close. There's some things in the NFL salary cap where you can play around with it and technically have more than other teams in a given year, but realistically, the maximum is the maximum.
Okay.
The NHL is the same way. NBA is a little different because it has all sorts of different exception rules and whatnot that I don't understand because I don't care about the NBA, so I've never looked into it really. But yeah, baseball is whatever. You want to pay Shohei Ohtani $70 million a year, go ahead.
Yeah, that's, to me, I think that's they need to incorporate a salary cap in the MLB. I personally think they, for every major league, they need to go to the team with the least amount of money, find out what the highest amount of money they can spend, and make that the salary cap across the board. Because, I don't think sports players should really be making that much. Look, they should make a decent amount of money. They put their bodies on the line. They shouldn't be making $70 million. I know that was a random number you chose, but they shouldn't be making $70 million a year.
I don't. It wasn't that random. I think Ohtani's contract is something ridiculous like that.
Well, when the Phillies signed Harper, wasn't it 10 years for $100 million or something?
It was 10 years for 350.
Okay, I lowballed it because I'm I think it was 300 million, but that seems too high. Yeah. So let me come down a little bit.
No, I was right. Ohtani, 10 years, $700 million. But
Jesus Christ.
They're also doing some sort of bullshit where they're really only paying him $2 million a year for the next 10 years, and then paying him $68 million a year for the 10 years after that. So his salary cap or his payroll number is only $2 million, but yeah.
So that this way it doesn't affect their bottom dollar or something like that. But
so they can actually spend more cash on other players.
Yeah.
But eventually he's going to get this $700 million total.
Yeah, because that's the one thing I was thinking of was it sucks to be that team that doesn't have the money. It sucks to not be the Yankees.
Yeah, and I mean, this year Ohtani's being paid more than the entire Oakland A's.
Yeah.
The entire Oakland A's in 2024 are getting paid $63 million. Ohtani's contract is $70 million.
And the movie proved that you don't need to spend the big bucks. You need to think of it as because baseball is a math sport. It is a mathematics game. You need to think of it that way, but it still does put you at a severe disadvantage because you can't get a lot of the young hot shots that are already in the league
Mm-hmm.
You can't do a lot, and so like this whole thing could have been settled if the MLB would have just been like, look, the A's make or have the least amount of money in their pockets, so that's all anybody can spend from now on is $360 million a year or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I could see them going to, maybe it's not that low. Like the top payroll right now is $300 million. I don't think a baseball team needs to be paying $300 million for a team.
No.
Right.
But I don't think you have to limit them all to $65 million. Maybe somewhere like $140 million. But then you make other teams there be a floor on how much players you have to pay players. Like that's what the NHL does, and I think NFL too is like, here's the upper limit, and you have to spend above the lower limit, so it kind of keeps players getting more money. You can't just like, oh well, we don't care, so we're going to sign all the worst players for the lowest amount of money just so we can make a bunch of money because we charge so much for our tickets. We don't care if we lose every game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But back into the movie. I had a thing I was going to mention. I can't remember now.
Chris Pratt as an MLB player.
Chris Pratt as an MLB player. Oh, that's
Garfield's Chris Pratt.
Garfield's Chris Pratt. Drew, I admit I didn't really I watched baseball. Like, I didn't watch it hardcore. I've always enjoyed it. I've always been a fan of baseball. I didn't pay any attention to 2002 season. Did you do you remember any of this from 2002? Do you
really
remember? Do you have any memory of like even the coach from the A's? Because he seemed like a dick.
I mean, I don't know. Really.
Yeah, and I don't know if that was just how they told. That was Philip Seymour Hoffman, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. That might have been one of his last roles.
It was probably his second to last role or something like that. His last role was Hunger Games, I believe.
Which he didn't actually complete.
No, but they put him. They were able to digitally put him. I don't think he had all his lines recorded, but they were able to like deep fake him and whatnot or something like that. No, all right, because I didn't really start paying too much attention to like 2006, 2007, 2008 when the Phillies started to get good again.
Yeah.
So like I get, like I said, I don't have any memory of this. I didn't know that they went from being admittedly the worst team in the season to being a major team that won 20 games in a row. Was the first team ever to get 20 games in a row. I believe that's what the record was.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, so the record, I actually looked this up. There are records that were actually longer than that. They were like the first team to do it in like 60 years or something like that during like the modern era of baseball.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
But like they joined an elite crew is really the idea.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
They joined an elite crew and they joined it by playing the game a lot differently. And then the movie even goes on to explain that the Boston Red Sox, who tried to pick up Billy Beane as a GM after his 2002 season, they won 2 years later using that same method. So it's proven to work. It's just like it's kind of, again, that's the numbers game. Once teams know how you play, they're going to work a way to play around that.
Mm-hmm.
So then you need to keep reworking that strategy, but sticking to that same original strategy.
Yeah, and just to give you a quick idea, so the Giants may still have the longest streak, it looks like, at 26 games in a row, back in 1916.
Okay.
And then the Guardians in 2017 actually were the most recent, it looks like, with 22 games in a row. And then you had 21 games with the Cubs in 1935, and a tie between the Yankees and the White Sox. The Yankees was in 1947, the White Sox in 1906 for 19 games. So the A's are actually still in the top 5, longest winning streaks since 1900.
Yeah, and I mean second since integration.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because 150 games a season. So like, there's a lot of opportunity for that.
Yeah,
it's insane.
Yeah,
152 or something 62. Like that. 162. Yeah.
Yeah, it just goes to show, like, no matter how good a team might be, it is rare for a team to just like really stack up wins because of just like the pitching alone rotates every game at least 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Like
to think of like how good like the early 2000s Yankees teams were, or the like late 90s Braves, and the fact that neither of them won that many games in a row is like, it goes to show that 20 game win streak is insanely impressive.
Yeah, it looks like the Braves got one in 2000 that was 15 games. The Guardians in 2017. Like they're
the 98 Yankees won 114 games and didn't even win 20 in a row, you know?
Yeah. They're not even on this list, which is like basically over 10 in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the other. Again, he said it. Like they only care if you win the last game. Like that's the other thing. Like, did the Yankees team that won over 100 games or whatever it was, were they the champions that year?
I think so.
I don't know.
Yes.
Okay. Because like based on it is not very often in baseball that the number one team is the team that wins. It's just especially because of the way that they put together the championship games. It's best of 5 and then best of 7 in the World Series. So you could just have bad days and then just lose. You might it's crazy how baseball works. Crazy.
Yeah, I feel like baseball has, of like the major American sports, probably has the most, let's say, even playing field for the playoffs into the championship game.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you do play enough games that like any team can win. Like if they made it that far, they're not bad. They didn't have a bad season, right? Like they made it to playoffs.
You can go 20-17 or whatever, or you can go like 3-17 or whatever they were. The A's were in 2002. Then have a 20-game win streak, be in the playoffs, and still not win.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is an even playing field, and it is just a matter of the wind. There is a lot of chance when it comes to baseball, and it's a lot of knowing your opponent's team. But it's baseball. I love baseball, man. It's one of the more fascinating sports. But like I can't just sit there and watch it because it is so boring. But like that's why the commentators always have to be on point. That's why like people like Harry Callis and other commentators are just so well known when it comes to baseball.
I mean, agreed for the most part. It's so different now. Like now the clock has made games so quick. It's like it's not a lot of sitting there waiting.
Mm-hmm.
Games are only like 2 hours and 20 minutes now.
Yeah, they really do move so much faster.
Yeah,
which like not a bad thing, but. But yeah, as far as the movie goes, like it was weird. While I enjoyed it, while watching it, I'm like, I was fairly engaged. And at the end, I'm just like, this movie really had nothing happening. Like it was kind of if you were to just look at what happened in the movie, like just like scene by scene, kind of boring. It's just a lot of Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill talking.
Yeah,
but like they did a good job.
It's an Aaron Sorkin movie, so of course.
Okay. Yeah.
They did it in like an interesting way. They put it together well. Like that's like where the edit comes in to make this movie shine. Is you're right. It's just a lot of talking, not a lot happening, but it makes you really feel for, especially Billy Beane. Like incorporating the stuff about his daughter into it, like really helps you feel for him as a character and as a person.
It's interesting because like if you look at movies, like just in general, like everything, movies, TV, books, comics, there is almost always some sort of like critical moment that like everything falls apart for somebody. This movie didn't really have that.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't, but also at the same time, I guess the falling apart is losing the championship at the end of the movie.
No, but I'm talking about that like midway to 3/4 way where like something happens and then like they come back from it. Like this movie didn't need, like obviously it's based on a true story, so like they didn't do it. But a lot of times, even when you're watching these like biopics and things based on true stories, they still somehow manage to like squeeze that stuff in with their like fictitious parts of the movie. Like they could have easily like snuck in something about like, oh, his ex-wife is moving to the other side of the country, So like all those times with his daughter is literally him like trying to like get her to stay in California. Like, you know what I mean? Like they didn't do that. And I actually appreciate that because it made it feel like it made it actually feel more realistic than just having unnecessary drama.
Yeah. Like I guess the closest to actually doing that is the times where they would like pop in stuff from his playing career. And it's like, does that even really need to be in there?
It didn't, but also like it didn't hurt anything because it kind of gave you a little bit more of like an understanding of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it tried to fill the void of teaching you what his life was like and what he was like as a player, and the fact that he was supposed to be this all-star player, and he wasn't really based on what the movie was showing. I didn't look up anything about his playing stats, but it seemed like he was extremely mediocre, if not worse than that.
I mean, a career 219 hitter, and he was the number 1 overall pick, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, sorry, he was the 23rd pick, but still a first round pick. Like,
yeah, he was supposed to be like an all-star, and he wasn't, unfortunately. And that's
I don't think that looking at his Wikipedia, I don't think he stayed on any team for more than a season. Maybe his first team he was on for more than one season, but it was a lot of just like one season per team before he eventually retired and moved to
scouting and then to being a GM.
Which I will tell you, I have never understood the difference between like manager and general manager until now. When I Googled it, because I'm just like, what the fuck is the difference here?
I mean, yeah, manager is just like the head coach.
Yeah, exactly. And I understood that, but I'm like, then what the fuck does the GM do?
The GM makes all the business decisions, basically.
Yeah, well, and I know that now. I Googled it.
Well, you could have just asked us.
I Googled it while I was watching the movie last night.
Could have just asked us.
But Google was right there. Why ask you guys?
Because
and have to wait for a response.
We also were right there. We would have responded.
You were streaming. You would have responded this morning or after I went to bed.
I mean, probably. I also wouldn't have thought. I would have been like, I don't know, and wouldn't have thought about it. I would have been like, why are you asking this?
I'm watching the damn movie. But yeah,
I'm watching that tomorrow morning during work.
Well, maybe you should have watched it earlier.
No, honestly, I wanted to watch it last night after stream, but stream just ended at 11 and I was falling asleep.
Yeah, understandable. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a good movie.
Yeah.
So, I have an idea for the next topic or theme, whatever we're going to do. Cult movies.
Wait, so as in like cult classics or movies about cults?
Yes. Cult classic.
Not both
movies.
So like cult classics. So I found a list. It's an IMDb list of like the top 100. So you don't have to like, if you can't think of one, there's a ton of them on here. And the one I am going to pick, assuming we all have Peacock.
Yeah, I mean, can get a free thing or whatever for it.
Oh, I thought you still had it from your
No,
Comcast.
They finally kicked us off it.
Oh, that's stupid. But yeah, as long as everyone's good with getting a trial of it at the very least.
That our worst case, I can see if Sarah's parents can log us in.
Nice. I mean, it's also this movie is also free on the Roku channel with ads and Pluto. So there are some other options, but the 1986 movie Labyrinth,
that's a great movie.
I've never seen it. I just know there's a lot of jokes about David Bowie and his balls.
Not as well. I mean, it's bulge, so yeah. But also, he has a silver ball at some point, I think.
Yeah, I feel like he does have like those like the stress ball thing. They're not stress balls, but like the two metal balls that you kind of like roll in your hands.
Mm-hmm.
But like I know kind of what the movie's about. I've just never seen it.
It's about the babe.
Yeah, I know like a baby gets abducted and Jennifer Connelly has to go rescue it.
It's about the babe with the power of voodoo. Voodoo, you do.
Wait, is that really in this movie?
There's the babe with the power of voodoo. Yeah, that's this movie.
Okay, so I've heard that before. I did not know that was this movie.
Yeah, it's also the origin of creating the puzzle. I don't know if it's actually the origin of creating the puzzle or the one that made it popular.
I can't tell a lie. I will always tell a lie.
There's two doors. One always tells the truth. The other one always tells a lie. And then a couple of other things. It's a great movie. Jim Henson did an amazing job with it, with all the puppeteering and everything. Because, I mean, Henson always does great with that stuff. Yeah, I believe that was Henson.
I'm pretty sure you're correct. I know, yeah, Jim Henson was the director. I've seen like some other movies of that era, like Dark Crystal, obviously Never Ending Story, Willow. But yeah, for some reason I just never saw Labyrinth.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fairly high on this list. I'm just like, oh, there's a pick right there. Perfect.
Thanks.
Yeah. So I will. I'm gonna just drop this into the chat here, and I'll throw it on the document when we're done too. This way, if you guys need to reference it later, it's there. But yeah, so in 2 weeks we will talk about Labyrinth from 1986 with David Bowie.
Nice.
And then, Rich, you watched X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yes, I did. You know, it's not as bad as I remember it being, or at least I remember everyone saying it was. CG was kind of awkward, especially when he got his metal claws. That was awkward as fuck. Like, there was one scene where he's like looking at them in the mirror and he's like waving them around, and it just looks terrible.
I vaguely remember this movie being actually kind of good up to about the point where like his girlfriend's murdered.
Even beyond, like, it's a solid movie overall. It's got its parts. I think a lot of the problems that people had with the movie are the changes to characters, the changes to Deadpool. The fucking Gambit wasn't even Cajun. Like, he didn't have a French accent.
Gambit was in that movie?
Gambit was in it, barely. He was in the end sequence, and Gambit was like, it was. His whole sequence and scenario in the movie was just bad. Like, he was in the movie as he was previously a captive of Stryker and escaped from 3 Mile Island, which that's another part that I want to talk about after in a second. But he escaped and went back to New Orleans. They go to get him because he's the only one who's ever escaped, and they want to try to figure out how to get into 3 Mile Island. And Gambit thinks that he's working with Stryker, so Gambit like tries to like fight him, but then Beast shows up, or not Beast, Sabretooth is there and starts fighting Wolverine, and then Wolverine knocks Gambit out, is in the same alley that he knocks Gambit out, and he's fighting Sabretooth. Then like 30 seconds later, not even, Gambit is on the rooftops, running from rooftop to rooftop with his staff that he uses to use his powers onto the ground or something like that. How did he get to rooftops that fast? Why is he like 4 blocks away when this happens? Like, there's a lot of inconsistencies in this movie, which really makes it questionable. Which is, I think, more of why people weren't happy with it. Why people thought it was bad. Like, I don't know what the Metacritic score was or anything for that. For like any ratings for the movie was. I don't care. I don't look that shit up. I just care about how I felt about it when I was watching, and like overall, it was fairly entertaining. I don't know. It's an origin story about a character who can't die that you know is going to be alive for at least 3 movies after this. So it's kind of like, okay, it's interesting to know where he came from, but I feel like they fast forwarded too much through his life to bring it to the 80s, 90s. Honestly, what would it be? The 80s?
Yeah, it was the 80s.
They added Scott into it, which they didn't really need to do that at all. They just wanted to give fucking Deadpool laser eyes, which was dumb. Deadpool's just so dumb, and like they ruined that character. The freaking sword in the hand, that does not work. Sword in the arm does not work for somebody who uses swords.
Not even a little bit.
Like, you can't like flourish a sword when it's coming out of your fucking arm. You can't like spin it. You can't spin your entire hand around. Oh my god, it was bad. But like, I don't know. I thought overall the movie was fine. Like, it's not my least favorite. It's X-Men 2, X-Men X2, X-Men United still sits at my least favorite. I don't know. I think I would say this is probably better than Last Stand at this point. Like, compared to what we have and and just the 4 movies so far, this is not the worst movie of those 4. Is it down there in scoring with the next couple? Potentially. But I think this is going to be a very, very middle of the line movie. I don't think it's going to be the worst, and it's definitely not going to be the best.
which is fair. I remember parts of it not being bad. I'm actually like scrolling through the synopsis right now. It wasn't after the girlfriend died. It was closer to around when he got the adamantium skeleton. Is when I remember just feeling that like the movie got a little too campy after that point.
Yeah, it did. It got the whole battle sequence with the helicopter, and Ghost, I believe his name was, who had just Zero, who just had the ability to shoot really well or something. I don't know what his mutant powers are. Like that fight was campy, and then the whole fighting Blob where he says Bub and he's like, "Did you call me Blob?" and he goes to attack him. It's like they went a little too cartoony at times, but also some of the characters, like they chose the Blob to be in this movie. They're gonna have to go a little cartoony with the fucking Blob. You can't not be cartoony with Blob.
I mean, yes, I don't know. Like, they should have just not used Blob because, frankly, that character has no connection to Wolverine.
No, even I don't know if Will.i.am's character is like part of a Wolverine storyline, but they just randomly had to have a teleportation character, which was like, I honestly would assume teleporting in the X-Men in mutant powers it would be pretty rare. That's a super powerful power.
No, actually, teleportation is actually not as rare as you think,
which is weird. You'd think they'd probably want to maybe make it more rare.
So I can think off the top of my head at least 3 mutants that can teleport, but like there are like, it's not like Nightcrawler where like it's just a short distance either. But a lot of them have some sort of like stipulation on it. Like it's not like they just like blink and suddenly they're somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
But his character John Rath actually debuted in a Wolverine comic.
Okay.
So he has a connection to Wolverine, whereas fucking Stryker, the Blob did not at all. Like
the movie also felt like they were just trying to pick big names at the time to get them into a movie. Dominic Monaghan was in it for 10 minutes.
Oh, that's right.
Ryan Reynolds is in it for 10 minutes. Of course, you have Hugh Jackman. I believe Liev Schreiber was pretty big at the time.
Actually, I think this might have been the movie that, as weird as it is, that people kind of knew him from.
Yeah,
because it wasn't until after this that he did that Showtime show that like actually like got really like well reviewed.
Mm-hmm. Will.i.am, it's just like it felt like they were just trying to pick big names or growing names.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't think it was terrible. I didn't think it was great. I thought it was a perfectly adequate popcorn action flick. I think that probably sums it up best.
Yeah, you know what? Like, I can not disagree with that. Like, it made mistakes.
Yeah, it did. But like, all action films make mistakes. I don't think I've ever seen a perfect action film.
It made more mistakes than not.
Yeah.
Or as many as it didn't. Like, it's kind of walking that line of just like, it had some good, it had some bad. Maybe the bad is worse than the good.
Yeah. And then friggin' Professor X somehow was able to walk in the 80s, which made no sense to me. Because I thought he lost his ability to walk a lot sooner.
Well, yeah, so he couldn't walk after Days of Future Past, after First Class in the 60s, and then Days of Future Past, he could again in the 70s, but that was with his the thing that killed his powers.
Yeah, it was with a serum that killed his powers that is what Beast took to make him be able to not look like Beast. But like even that, like, because Days of Future Past and all that hasn't come out yet. It's like this movie takes place in the 80s. So now somehow, but in the 80s to 2000, 2001, Professor X loses the ability to walk. And I'm like, I thought.
And then in the other 80s with Apocalypse, I guess it would be. Yeah, because Dark Phoenix was the 90s. So in Apocalypse in the 80s, you have like Wolverine going berserker, which he never does in this after getting the adamantium. Like you have actual Weapon X Wolverine in a brief scene in that movie.
Yeah, and that's because Once First Class is a different timeline. I'm settled on that. First Class, it's not even like an alternate universe. It's just its own fucking thing. Like even Days of Future Past is its own thing. I feel like that's a different timeline, just using characters we know.
Well, I feel like you could make the argument that Days of Future Past merges the timelines into one.
No, I don't think so. There were no Sentinels in any of the original 3 X-Men movies. There were no Sentinels.
There was a Sentinel during the training room exercise in X-Men 3.
That's it. We have not gotten
they exist.
We have not gotten any I mean, then where were they during the attack on Alcatraz? When mutants were going crazy to stop a mutant healing gene. Like, you would think Sentinels would have been there.
Well, I thought they basically stopped the Sentinels in Days of Future Past, didn't they?
Yes, but this is before Days of Future. That's the thing. Like, X-Men: The Last Stand. If what you're saying is it merges the timelines, X-Men: The Last Stand is the timeline before Days of Future Past gets corrected. So the X-Men: The Last Stand, then Wolverine, the Wolverine movie, and then Days of Future Past, future timeline is all of the original X-Men movies. And then the timeline that Wolverine wakes up at the end of Days of Future Past is the timeline that would turn that the First Class series is, that essentially may become Logan, potentially. But like, also we've already seen that they're doing multiverse stuff in the MCU, so it's just easy to say now that it is multiverse. Because also at the same time, we've already had this discussion with Dark Phoenix, the movie Dark Phoenix. Like, she had her Phoenix powers locked up when she was a kid, and Professor X brought her in as a kid, whereas he doesn't bring her. He brings her in as a teenager, I believe, during Days of Future Past. There's no way, and I'm 100% believing that X-Men Origins Wolverine and the first 3 X-Men movies are one timeline. The First Class and the Wolverine, X-Men Origins Wolverine, and the first 3 X-Men movies are one timeline, completely separate from the First Class timeline, which breaks up into 2 timelines. One where Wolverine gets sent back in time to then correct, or to make time better and stop the Sentinels.
I mean, they are just movies, so you can actually think whatever you want.
Yeah, but like they're not connected at this point. Nothing is connected. None of those, not the First Class movies, even though they tried to make it seem like they were connected, they're not connected. None of them are connected.
Everything's connected.
Nothing's connected. I mean, that's the thing. They are, but because they're doing multiverse. So we could have
same Wolverine in all of them.
We could have Beast from First Class, Beast from X-Men: The Last Stand, and spoiler alert, Beast from the very end of the Marvels all meet at once. I should have given you a little bit more of a spoiler alert, but
yeah, you should have, because I actually didn't know that.
It's one of the post-credit scenes.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I don't really care.
Look, I've already been over this. That movie's been out for almost a year now, or over a year at this point.
No, it's only been like 6 months.
No,
didn't that come out last November?
Was it November? No,
I thought so. Yeah, it was like November 2023, right? Yeah, November 2023.
Oh, well, still. It's been on Disney Plus for like 4 months. If you wanted to watch it, you would have watched it by now.
You don't know that. You don't know what I have time for.
You had a plane flight to Japan.
Which this was not on the thing.
You could have downloaded it onto your iPad and watched it.
I don't have an iPad.
You know what I mean. You could have downloaded it onto your tablet and watched it.
I actually don't think Disney Plus lets you download.
I don't know. Maybe.
I remember looking at Disney Plus to download stuff, and I don't think I was able to. It was like Disney Plus and Hulu and one other one. I couldn't download anything, and I was kind of like annoyed. And then I ended up not watching anything on the tablet. I just watched stuff on the actual in-flight thing. Because
I can download Rise of the Planet of the Apes. There's a download option on my phone on Disney Plus.
Interesting. I don't think I had one.
So I'm just saying, if you wanted to watch the Marvels, you would have by now.
You don't know me. But do you have anything else you want to say about Wolverine?
No. It was fine. I'm excited.
Is next week Days of Future Past?
No, First Class.
I'm sorry. I keep forgetting First Class even exists, even though that it's a good movie.
We're still 3 weeks from Days of Future Past. So it's First Class, then the Wolverine, then Days of Future Past.
Right. So in my head,
Deadpool might be somewhere there too.
Deadpool's after, because Deadpool was 2016.
Yeah.
And Days of Future Past was 2014.
Yeah.
I think it's Deadpool 2 and one of the and something
Dark
else.
Phoenix came out the same year.
Yeah, like a few months apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess let's talk a little bit about all the games that were shown.
Yeah. So, full disclosure for anybody listening. I was doing a stream event while this shit was going on. So I didn't watch any of this. But also, I just don't have it in me to watch an hour, 2 hours of just trailers anymore.
Yeah, I was saying before we started, I skipped a lot. Drew, did you have a chance to watch any of them?
I went through the list that you put up and was watching ones that sounded like they might be interesting, based on the titles. That's
kind of like I put on the actual Summer Game Fest stream about an hour into it and kind of just fast forwarded through stuff as it popped up. I'm like, okay, well that trailer actually looks cool. Let me watch this one, and then moved on. And then I went back through them today while I was grabbing all the links and kind of skipped through them again just to refresh myself on what games were. Because in some cases, some of the names mean absolutely fucking nothing to me.
Right.
I had to actually see them to be like, oh, right. Yeah, this game actually looked like it was kind of cool. Okay, yeah. So the two big ones that happened were the actual Summer Game Fest stream hosted by Keeley, and then Xbox did their Xbox showcase. There were a bunch of other ones, like Devolver had theirs, which I want to watch at some point because the Devolver ones are always just fucking silly. I don't even care about the games. I just want to see what silly skits they do this year. The Wholesome Games one is always actually a lot of fun because it's so many wholesome little indie games. I think they said they showed 70 games this year.
Wow.
Over the course of an hour. And usually they'll have the developers pop in, and it's always two people that just made this game with love and heart. Mm-hmm. And then Ubisoft had their forward, which from what I saw when skipping around through it, they only showed 2 games that aren't out yet. And that was the Star Wars game that comes out in August and Assassin's Creed that I think comes out in October.
Yeah.
Everything else was shit that's already out. They had things for the Prince of Persia game that came out in January, or the Avatar game that came out last year. And they even they did announce the Sands of Time remake is now scheduled for 2026.
Jeez.
Yeah. So that game fell off the fucking rails for sure.
Wait, what was it? I'm sorry.
The Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake that they announced 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
It had gotten taken off of their release schedule, and they just finally re-announced it, and it's 2026 now. Mm-hmm. Damn, guys. Ugh. But so I bolted a couple things from the actual Summer Game Fest one that I thought looked cool.
Yeah.
The first one was Lego Horizon Adventure. That actually looks like it's going to be a cool Lego game. Just, it's fucking Lego dinosaurs and what's her name from the Horizon games, doing those weird temples and shit from those games. So but all Lego.
Lego robot dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Are they actual Legos, or are they the doesn't Lego have what is it, Bionicle? Isn't that Lego?
Yeah, that is. That would be cool.
But these are actually, they look like the Lego stuff, just like all the other Lego games.
Oh, they should have been Bionicle, but you know what? That's fine. Bionicle is its own franchise really at this point.
But it's just a Lego game. It's nothing groundbreaking, but it looks like it'll be a cool Lego game.
I'm gonna ask a question.
Sure.
Do we need this?
No, absolutely not.
This is also part of kind of why I don't watch these. There's just so much anymore. There's so many games. There's new games coming out every day. There's new it's content overload. We've gone over this with TV and movies, and you just end up leaning on the same old. And it's kind of like this. I'm looking at Lego Horizon. Why? Why do we have this? I don't want to.
I do wonder, how well do these Lego games still do? They don't come out like they used to. There were a couple years there where there was a new Lego title, every 6 months with a different, franchise. And I feel like it has been a little while since we had one.
And on top of that, look, I was super late to the game of playing Horizon Zero Dawn. And I was either, I don't know if the way I was playing it just burned me out or what, but I just thought it was absolutely average. I thought it was a fine open world game. I just couldn't really get into it. I don't know what it was about it. It didn't connect with me. And I don't really remember hearing a lot about Forbidden West sticking. Like, is the Horizon series that big that now we need a spin-off Lego series about it?
So, yes and no. Like, both of the games actually did very well. I feel like they're the games that come out and people finish, and then there's just not a lot to do after that. Like, there's really no replay value in those games at all. There's nothing to go back for once you finish them.
Yeah, I mean, which is fine. Not every game needs to be something that you play 17 times till you fucking see everything.
I mean, it's the same. You could have the same argument with like the Spider-Man series. Like the Spider-Man games are the same way. Like, there's no reason if it's pretty much the same with every story-based video game series. In my opinion, there is no real major way to go back to it. No major reason to go back to it. There's no replay value to like a story-driven video game.
Okay, you know what? The better way to put that is, I feel like people didn't have a drive to replay it the way certain people have with other story-driven games. Like, there are plenty of games that people love enough that they want to play again, and I feel like the Horizon games are the games where people just need that one and done. Like, they're long enough, there's enough fluff to those games that they don't need to do it multiple times, but they enjoy the time that they have with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I'm kind of flabbergasted at a Lego Horizon game. Just makes no sense to me. It doesn't. It doesn't make any sense to me.
There have been dumber Lego games, I'm sure.
I'm sure there have been, but also like, I played Lego City Undercover,
which apparently is a good one. I think I remember you actually saying it was fun.
It was very enjoyable. Let's get more of that. Let's get more original type. Like, I'm still pushing the idea of let's get, like, this is, I guess you could say, an original title, because it's probably going to be its own. It's not going to be a replay of the first game. It's going to be its own story, and it's going to be its campy, silly Lego-ness. But like, you're just, I don't know. I think this is weird. I just think this is so weird.
I don't know. Like, I thought it looked fun. It's not a game I'm going to buy like day one, but Lego games tend to go on sale after like the first year. I will probably pick it up on a very discounted price and play it for like 10 hours and have a great time with it. Because that's one nice thing about those Lego games is like they are super low stakes. Like, they are an easy game to just kind of throw on and run around, collect Lego bits, and watch things kind of like crumble to pieces.
And also, Horizon Zero Dawn was re-released for PC 4 years ago. So, like,
was it really that long ago?
It was only 2020. Like, it wasn't. To me, that's not that long ago because it's pandemic time. It's like yesterday.
That was still 4 years ago, man.
I know, but still, like, it's still relatively. Again, this is not a remake of the first one, just in Lego. But I don't know. I think this is just silly. I don't think the world is asking for a Lego Horizon game.
I mean, the world's not asking for any Lego games, but they still make them. Like, there was a period in around like 2015, they released like 5 different Lego Marvel games. They were all the same fucking game, just with different names, but you had all the same characters in them. You had like Lego Marvel Heroes, Lego Marvel Heroes 2, Lego Avengers, and literally all the same fucking characters in all of them. There was no difference to those games.
Lego City of Heroes.
Was that one too?
I think I have a.
Yeah, I mean, there were like 7 different Lego Batman games. There was even the Lego Batman game based on the Lego Batman movie. Like, that, it's a franchise meant for children. Like, I get that. Like, that's why there's literally no stakes in it. You can't lose in those.
Lego Marvel Superheroes is what it was called.
Yeah, like
PS4 title.
Yeah, it's just what they do. But that was literally just the first game that they showed off, and definitely not the big one. Then there was this Neva game, which kind of reminded me of like Inside and what is that other game by the same developer?
I don't know.
You know what I'm talking about? Limbo. Limbo's the other one.
Right. Okay.
It kind of had that aesthetic, but not as dreary and dark. It's like a girl and her weird wolf dog elk creature, traversing stuff. It's a 2.5D maybe world. It's got that like the characters are all just on like the 2D play field, but then there's like stuff happening in the background.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a little bit of like a Princess Mononoke vibe to it at times.
Yeah.
It just it has a cool aesthetic. It just kind of looked neat.
It did. I popped on the trailer as you were talking about it. It looks interesting. It looks flowy, but also you're right. It's probably more similar to like a less dark Limbo type of game. It's puzzle platformer walking sim is what Steam has it labeled as.
Okay, yeah, because there was a little bit of combat shown in it, which that was new. Yeah, that would come with the puzzle platformer. I feel like platformers like that generally have some combat.
Adventure, platformer, puzzle, walking sim are the 4 tags that are in the game. So yeah, you can say adventure or platformer or whatever.
Yeah, but it just kind of looked neat. It looked kind of touching. That fucking elk creature thing is absolutely going to die at the end. It's going to be fucking heartbreaking. There's going to be absolutely no dialogue or text in like the whole game other than the girl yelling the creature's name when it needs it. And then that creature is going to like sacrifice itself to save the girl, or you're going to have to ritualistically sacrifice the deer because games are fucking twisted like that.
Mm-hmm.
And Rich, if that's the case, I think you should play it on stream.
Oh, I'm gonna cry. I definitely I will consider playing this. I'm not even consider like if I can see this game on a decent sale or if it's not too expensive. I've been thinking of incorporating some sort of like indie stuff when it comes to stream every once in a while, and that's like an idea, or maybe even do like indie on YouTube or something.
Yeah, there's also I don't know if you're familiar with it. Steam Next Fest is happening right now though.
Mm-hmm.
In case you want like a variety day, and you could just play a bunch of demos of shit that looks neat to you.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to install the demos, but there's a couple of things. Once Human has a demo up that I joined the beta for, and I never actually played it. Alters is a game that I've been seeing a lot about that I'm interested in. They have Wizard of Legend 2, which I hear was the first one was really good, and I watched a little gameplay of the sequel, and it looks interesting, but from what I hear, it might have lost a little bit of its charm from the first one.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff.
There's always a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, maybe look into some spoopy games so I can find some spoopy games for stream.
There was actually I saw just a brief little like clip of a game on there that it was like a G.I. Joe like side-scrolling beat 'em up that
nice.
At least like style-wise, like it looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw it like on my phone, so it's not like I was able to do much with it. Moving along though, Metamorph Refantasio is from it's not, I don't think it's an Atlas game necessarily, but it's from some of the creative people behind the Persona games. And it's basically Persona, but actual fantasy.
So it's not like sci-fi anymore?
Okay, so Atlas is the Japanese publisher for it. So it's a Sega game. Studio Zero is, I guess, people from Atlas, or maybe it is Atlas.
And Cobb, it's Metaphor Refantasio.
I copied it from somewhere, and it fucking typoed it.
You typoed. I was like, there's no drugs in this.
Well, that's why I started to say Metaphor, and then I saw the H. I'm like, well, that's not right. And Refantasio is also a fucking made-up word.
I was more talking about Metaphor than anything else.
But
because it was metaphor.
But yeah, so it's it takes place in an actual like fantasy world. Like there's like monsters and airships and all that sort of like fantasy shit, as opposed to like taking place in the real world and just having a weird like cognitive realm sort of thing that is still just heavily based on and inspired by the real world. Like Persona 5, one of the levels is literally a fucking casino cruise ship. Because that is just one of the people's like cognitive like palace things. But this game looks cool. Like it has all the Persona style, but in like a more like fantasy setting.
Yeah, it looks interesting.
Yeah.
The art style is very Atlas and very
it's
very Persona.
Yeah, it's 100%. You can tell it's from the studio that does Persona. Even the menus look very Persona.
Yeah.
But that comes out like in October, and I will absolutely be playing it. And then we've got so Blumhouse, the horror company, they're making games now. They released like a sizzle reel. Only one of them mattered. It's called whatever that trailer is that I copied here. It's a Stardew Valley murder mystery.
Oh, your link to the Stardew Valley murder mystery only goes.
Oh, it's just the sizzle reel. Oh man, I had another link that had that information in it. Hang on a second. Blumhouse game.
Brave Seasons.
Yeah, that's the one.
All right, it's at 30 seconds into the thing.
Yeah, it's like a very fast, like blink and you miss it clip. But it's Stardew Valley with like a murder mystery, and that game is, if they do that well, that game is going to make them so much money.
Yeah.
Which like good for them if that works out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was a clever idea. That's the only reason I bolded it. Rich, I know I saw you already talk. Yeah.
I'm excited for the next one. I was texted about it while I was streaming, and as soon as I ended stream, I watched it. Because this came out. I think they mentioned it on Friday or like
this was Friday.
This was Friday.
Yeah, Friday.
So it was like one of the first things I talked about on stream on Saturday. But it was Power Rangers Rita's Rewind. It looks
really good.
Amazing. I am so excited for it. Hopefully, probably not going to happen. Hopefully, it's like you can play up to 6 players, and you can have the 5 Power Rangers, and eventually unlock the Green Ranger as well, or something like that. That would be great.
I mean, they did it with the Turtles game, and it looks very much similar to the Turtles game.
Turtles only had 4 playable characters.
Turtles, yeah, that makes sense.
Turtles only had 4 player characters, but there was 6 to start, because it's the 4 Turtles, and then April and Splinter, and then you unlocked Casey Jones.
Right. I forgot that's how that one went.
Yeah. So it's probably going to be only 4 player characters, and then you probably unlock the Green Ranger or something like that, or I don't know.
I mean, the trailer shows 5 players.
Does it?
Does it?
Yep, 100% has all 5 as active players.
See, then,
whether or not it can do 6, and like there's even a spot where it has just red, blue, yellow, and black, and then a press A for Pink Ranger to join in. So it's clearly at least 5 player.
And I actually see one that says press A, and it looks like it might be green, assuming that the colors change.
No, I think that's just A for an Xbox controller.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know what? I'm looking at it now at another screenshot, and yeah.
Although I'm now also on a screen where they're on like a roller coaster, and there's a 6th spot. There's a green spot. So
is there? Oh, that's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I'm looking at that too.
So and it 39 seconds in the trailer.
I just did the roller coaster, and there was only 5 spots there.
I'm looking at.
There's only 5. There's only 5
there's
character
6
things,
coasters.
But there's 6 carts on the.
Oh, okay.
They have a green cart on the track, so it's like,
The Green Ranger will definitely be in this somehow for sure.
Yeah. I think your idea of the Green Ranger wind up being an unlockable like after you game once.
Yeah, and then the friggin' the motorcycle parts. All the bosses that they're showing, like Bones and Eye Guy and shit like that. Oh, the Megazord stuff. I'm just so excited for this game.
It looks like at some point you fight Tengu warriors, the fucking bird monster things.
Yeah. So we probably get into some Lord Zed stuff.
I mean, that's post Lord Zed, really. That's the ninja stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like not post Lord Zed, but like late Lord Zed. Unless they go the movie route and you end up fighting Ivan Ooze.
That would be great if they brought in Ivan Ooze. That would be amazing.
It's better than Rito Repulso.
Yeah, fucking Rito.
But yeah, no, that game, I'm excited for that one.
Yeah,
it's coming later this year.
It is on my wish list on Steam already.
It's also Digital Eclipse, who they don't do a ton of original games, but they have a good track record of updating and porting like other old games and like collections and having all sorts of like really cool bonus content added to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like Drew, this is where Drew Scanlon went to.
I was going to say that's where.
Yeah. So like they did the Cowabunga collection for the Ninja Turtles, not the other one, the actual new one. But yeah, that Power Rangers Reader's Rewind looks like it's going to be fucking cool. And then we had a bunch of other games. Wonder Stop, I thought looked like it could be interesting. You are a fighter that like is injured or something like that, and you end up working at a tea shop, sort of unwillingly. So the game is you have to like do shit around this like village to get the shit you need to make tea every day.
Cool.
I don't know. That seems like it could be a thing.
That's definitely my kind of thing.
Yeah. Like literally in the trailer, the character's just like, I do all this stuff, and then I go and I just sit on this bench and do nothing, and it's kind of nice. Just looking at stuff. Some of these other games, like after that, like Unknown 9 Awakening, and Enotria, the last song, they look kind of cool. They're almost certainly not for me, especially that Enotria game. It's a Souls-like. It style-wise and like character-wise, it looked really cool though. It looks like your player character, you steal like the masks of the things you defeat, and then you can turn into them. So like, in the trailer's a little bit long, but you go in there with like this like sort of jester-ish look on, and you start fighting this guy who's huge, as you do in these Souls games. And at one point you change your mask and your weapon becomes like a big hammer. And then after they defeat the enemy, the character walks out wearing that enemy's face, and like all the guards just kind of let them go. So just, I don't know. I'm not going to play it because it's a Souls-like, but it looked kind of fucking cool.
Unfortunately, it's just a cinematic trailer, so
yeah,
we don't really know much else about it.
But like, just like aesthetic-wise, I think the aesthetic looks cool.
It does. Yeah. It does look cool.
There's a demo out for it.
Oh, wonder why they didn't show any gameplay.
Good fucking question.
Same reason why Where Winds Meet didn't give us any fucking gameplay or any good gameplay.
That's fair. And then Sonic X Shadow Generations. It's the update for Sonic Generations with Shadow. Mm-hmm. I always wanted to try Generations, and I just never did for whatever reason. So like, I might try this, maybe.
Wait, Generations, wasn't that the? Oh no, that's the one where. Never mind. I've talked about it. I've never played it. Generations is great, from what I hear.
I was gonna say, you just said you never played it. How can you say it's great?
From what I hear, it's great.
Yeah, because it was like you had like both versions of Sonic, like the old school like '90s version and the more modern like Sonic Adventure version.
Yeah.
And now you also have Shadow.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm curious.
Look, Cobb, you also you skipped Monster Hunter Wilds.
We talked about it already, and it's not bolded. If you wanted to talk about Monster Hunter, you should have come in here, watched the trailer, and bolded it.
I watched the trailer already, and all I got to just say is, are you guys excited for the Tremors crossover?
No.
Yeah, if you watch the Monster Hunter Wilds trailer, one of the big enemies is a sandworm, basically.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I'm just making that joke anytime I see anything about the sandworm. Like, guys, when are we going to fight the ass blasters now? And like, I can't wait for Bert to be isekai'd into Monster Hunter Wilds.
Yeah, I actually, so I have not watched the trailer at all.
I'm gonna find an image of the creatures, and you will be like, yeah, these are graboids.
All right. Well, while you're doing that, Phantom Blade Zero was another one that I thought just kind of looked like it could be cool.
Yeah, that one's definitely a Souls-like.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't like playing them because they're just not fun for me to play. But I think they generally, like, those games have like cool like aesthetics and atmosphere and stuff usually.
Yeah.
So, Rich, do you have your picture yet?
Yeah, I'm posting it in the chat, on the Discord chat now.
I don't see anything. There it is. I take it back, though it's not loading. Why aren't you loading? It's just what the fuck, Discord?
It's not entirely a graboid, but like it's a graboid.
It actually won't open for me. Like, I just have I'm
sharing on Facebook as well now.
Okay. Yeah, it's just like a colored like brownish image for whatever stupid reason. Okay, yeah, I can see it in there except for the weird arms.
Except for the arms and legs, like it
like,
but like
you take those away, and yeah, I see what you were getting at.
Yeah, so we're eventually going to have Bert isekai'd into Monster Hunter.
I mean, it can't make Monster Hunter any worse than it already is.
Rude.
All right, that was the end of the Summer Game Fest stream. So then on Saturday. On
Sunday
was the Xbox showcase. Yeah, it was Sunday afternoon because we went out right before it came on, so I didn't watch it until later on when we got home. So Drew, did you watch the Doom Dark Ages trailer?
I did. That thing looks fucking dope.
Dude, I love the gun that they show at the beginning where it's just fucking the ammo are fucking skulls that it's just crushing and shooting as bullets. Man, that game is going to be fucking nuts. So it is one of the few studios that like under the Bethesda umbrella that actually makes games that I want to play. So I'm actually very excited for that one. Rich, did you ever try any of the Dooms? I forget it. Like you don't like them?
I've never played them. I'm not big into like arena shooters. I'm not big into like arena style games. So like it's part of the reason why I'm not big into Hades because it feels too arena to me. And so yeah, it's I'm
so
just
fucking cool though.
I'm just not into it.
I get it. Like they're fucking cool games even if you're not into it. Like just the aesthetic of them. Like they went for it and they fucking nailed it.
Mm-hmm.
I put asterisks next to these two just in case you guys cared. They showed off Dragon Age, the Veilguard, and Starfield DLC.
I looked at the Dragon Age trailer real quick. It looks fine. Much like every other Dragon Age, I'll probably wind up buying it, playing it for like 3 hours, and being like, "Yeah, okay."
I've wanted to play through. I've only done the second Dragon Age game. I've wanted to do all of them. Yeah,
that's kind of fun.
I couldn't I couldn't remember if it had its own name, but like I never played Origins. I only ever really played 2. You didn't really need to play Origins to understand what was going on in 2. Never played Inquisition, but I really wanted to because I liked 2. But yeah, I don't want to jump into it now. Like I want to get them all before I get into the Veilguard. Apparently, it had a different name previously that fans are not happy with the new name.
I thought that it had a different name than this, but I wasn't really sure.
I couldn't remember if it ever had a name announced before.
And let's be realistic, fans are just never happy.
Yeah.
Like, that's just fans. And the Starfield DLC, I don't think any of us really cared about Starfield, right?
No.
So it was originally named Dragon Age Dreadwolf.
Okay, that's actually a cool name.
Yeah.
Like, the Veilguard's a pretty stupid fucking name if you're changing it from the Dreadwolf.
And this is from an IGN article where it says Dragon Age Dreadwolf is officially being renamed to Dragon Age Veilguard.
Yeah,
so,
I don't remember that name, but...
I don't either, but, like, frankly, like, that's just a mistake. Like,
yeah. If it wasn't an IGN article, I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, it definitely was named. But it's an IGN article, so I'm like, oh yeah, it definitely had a name.
Yeah, I vaguely remembered it having a name, but I did not remember that as the name, and like that's a cool fucking name. The Veilguard's stupid.
Yeah.
But and Starfield again, like nobody gives a shit.
No, it was a game full of nothing.
Yeah.
In order to get the full effect and really make exploring worthwhile, you needed to beat the story first, which sucks. In an open world game like that, you have to do the story first. That sucks.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. So South of Midnight, I think actually looks kind of cool. A little generic as far as like what the gameplay probably is. It looks like it's one of those just 3D like action adventure platformer sort of games. You get into a clearing and a big monster shows up and you fight the big monster by like dashing into it, slashing it, hitting it with a magic attack, and moving on. But the world looks like it might be kind of fucking cool.
Yeah,
like,
and the art looked cool.
Yeah, like the trailer opens up with you riding on this giant talking fish who's like going to help you find like your mom or something like that. But first you have to go ring a bell in an old church to scare a crocodile away or alligator, and the alligator happens to be like the size of a fucking mountain. So like, yeah, I'm interested to see more of that game if nothing else. And then a couple ones that look like Claire Obscure look like it could have been kind of neat. A Perfect Dark trailer actually happened, which is rare.
That was giving me heavy. God, no, I can't remember the name of it.
The Perfect Dark trailer.
Yeah. What is that stupid Mirror's Edge vibes?
Yeah, I can see that. I thought it looked interesting
mostly, but yeah, it's like what if you combined like Hitman and Mirror's Edge?
I was also thinking a little bit like Watch Dogs, just first person Watch Dogs, because it had a lot of that like hacker tech stuff going on, like. copying people's vocal prints from down the block and shit like that. I don't know that I care about the Perfect Dark game.
No,
like I never played the original, and I don't know. Like, I just don't think I care.
At least they're not just trying for like generic first-person shooter game.
I mean, that's true. They are, at least. It looks like they're trying to put a little bit more into it, like with the tracking stuff and like all the weird tech and things and traversal, which, good for them. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. I forgot they were remaking Snake Eater. But it looked really good. Like, that was a real good looking fucking Solid Snake, and I'm pretty sure that was David Hayter's voice.
Yeah, I believe so.
So that's cool. I'm glad it's not Kiefer Sutherland. But have either of you guys ever played Snake Eater?
No.
That is one Metal Gear game that I kind of want to actually play. Like, it seemed like it had the most like weird shit you could do in it.
Yeah, crap battle. crap battle.
But I think it's Snake Eater is the one where you could back on the PS2, if you just turned the game off for long enough and then came back to it, the old man died.
Yeah, you had to stop playing for a day, I think it was. While in the fight with him, you had to like save at a certain point during the fight if you could, and just stop playing for a day. And the time moved forward. You could also kill him before that fight.
Mm-hmm.
There's an instance where, like, because a lot of the game was like all in engine, so you could, after a cutscene, it would flash back to you, and they would be like carting him back inside. If you shot him during that time and killed him, that fight didn't happen, but you instead had to fight a handful of other soldiers or something like that.
Oh, that's actually kind of cool. I did not know that one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as fucking crazy as Kojima can be, like, his games have some neat shit in them.
Yeah.
Like, that is fucking creative.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I feel like Kojima is an everyman gamer where he sits there when he's making his games and it's like, what would a gamer try to do right here? Well, they see him carting away. They're going to try to kill him. Let's throw that in there. Let's make that work.
I mean, let's be real. Kojima's just crazy and just wants to do crazy shit.
Yeah.
He loves over-the-top action movies.
Yeah.
But Drew, what did you think of the Diablo expansion? The cinematic trailer for it?
I mean, looks cool. I'm glad they're doing a brand new character or brand new class for the new class instead of just bringing something back.
Yeah, I feel like that's what they usually do, right? They just...
I mean, yes and no. Like with 3, they made a new-ish paladin I forget, the Crusader, but it was basically just paladin, and then brought back Necromancer. So this is like I guess the first new class in a long time in a mainline Diablo game, anyway.
Okay, yeah, yeah, because what were the classes in 3?
Barbarian, Wizard, I want to say they called it in that one. Monk, which I guess Monk was technically new, but also technically not, because in the unofficial expansion for 1, there's a Monk.
There's an unofficial expansion?
Yeah, it's called Hellfire.
I did not know that.
I recently started playing it. For whatever reason, it's probably weird compatibility thing. It's broken when I try to reload a save, so that's no fun. But
they have to restart it every time.
Yeah, so we'll see if one of these days I'll go looking into a fix, or apparently I'll just go spend another $10 and buy the version on GOG instead of the Battle.net version, and that one supposedly works better.
So it's unofficial, but like it's actually sold by Blizzard.
Yeah, they've now started selling it and like acknowledge its existence, but I don't think it's like in the canon anything that was added in that expansion. Demon Hunter, Barbarian Rogue, Wizard, or Barbarian, Demon Hunter, Wizard, Monk. What was the 5th character? Oh, Witch Doctor. Okay, Witch Doctors were new. Never mind.
Wow, I forgot about Witch Doctors.
And like Demon Hunter was kind of new, but was also basically just rogues or Amazon. Like they were bows. So
yeah, they give it a new name and some new abilities, but it kind of plays similar to a previous one. I mean, there's really only so many different things you can do, right?
Yeah, there's only so many archetypes.
Yeah.
But so I forget what the name of the new thing in Diablo 4 is. Spirit something.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
Where is it in here? But yeah, I mean, it looks good. I'll be getting it.
Yeah, I forgot that it was on Game Pass, so I never actually even tried Diablo 4 be on the open beta from like the summer before it launched, I might actually like give it a shot at some point, just because it's just part of Game Pass.
Yeah, and they just recently, the new season, they kind of redid all the stuff around in it, and I guess is better.
I enjoyed the beta.
Yeah, just kind of some of the ways they handle like item power stuff and what drops when. The changes they made were smart. In the new Spiritborn are the new character, is the new class.
That's a fun name.
Yeah.
So Fable got a trailer.
Yep. It
didn't get a release date, but it got a trailer. So they are apparently still working on Fable.
Isn't this like the third or fourth trailer for it or something?
I think it's only the second. I think we've only had like the reveal that it was being made. And to be fair, like this was a longish trailer. It looked like it could have been in game, but it might not have been. But I don't know. Like those Fable games are. There is a time and a place for Fable games. Let's put it that way.
It says in-game footage during the trailer.
Oh, did it? Okay.
Yeah. So it's all in engine, but it's all scripted in engine stuff. So
yeah, and
it's not gameplay.
That was one of the ones where I kind of like I didn't watch the whole thing. I kind of like skimmed through it.
Mm-hmm.
Rich, are you excited for Sea of Thieves? Season 14?
I am. They're adding. Season 12, which is what's going on right now. They added a bunch of stuff. Still stuff that we have not experienced yet, and we play it weekly. And then season 13, they're including the Man of War ship, which is basically a world event, or not a world event. You activate it, and you can take over the ship, and then you go and attack other players. But it's not a ship that you start with. You actually have to take it over, and then other players can take it over from you. And it's
so
really
you're actually
interesting.
being pirates.
Well, I mean, you're being pirates in the sense of you're digging up treasure and fighting other ships on the seas, like other pirates, other players.
But you don't get to steal ships otherwise, right?
No, you destroy the ships, but you steal all the gold that they had because that comes to the surface of the.
But real pirates used to also steal ships. They would add it to their like array of ships, or they would just trade up to a nicer ship.
Yeah, but I mean, when it comes to this, your spawn point is tied to your ship, so you can't really steal a ship. So that's why you can't steal and have multiple ships. Also, balancing sake, there can only be X amount of ships per server. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's 2 galleons, which are the big ships that are for 4 players. I think it's like 3 or 4. It's 2 galleys. I think it's like 4 to 6 of the brigs, and like I think like same number of sloops. Like sloops and brigs are interchangeable, but it's only 2 galleys per.
Oh, so there's not that many players per server then?
No, probably no more than like 30. I would say, but
I didn't realize
maybe
that.
Even less than. Yeah, no, it's not huge servers. It's smaller servers. And this is like you activate this thing, you fight it. I can't 100% remember because they announced it before this season released. They just showed more about it for this, but we had already known about it. But yeah, you take over and then you go around fighting other ships, and you've got like a big flamethrower in front of you, and it's going to change ship combat when it comes to fighting that, because most ships in the game only have the cannons on the sides and not on the front. And it seems like you can be a terror, but like if you're not good at PvP, which we're not, it's probably not going to be like really possible for us to do. But we'll see. Like we don't do PvP a lot in that game, so that's why we're not good at it. Is because we just don't practice it. We don't do it.
I mean, that's fair. Like at least it's new content though, right? Like
yeah,
they're still adding stuff to the game.
Yeah, they added a bunch. Like I said, this past season they added like zip lines and things like that, and grapple hooks. And then next season they're adding like actual content, like playable content with the Flameheart ship. Yeah, they support it a lot. A lot of people play this game, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger. We still have to do the Escape from Monkey Island stuff.
Oh, that's right. I forgot they added that stuff.
Yeah, it's 3 episodes that you can do.
That's pretty cool. Oh, where did my list go? Shit, there it is. Indiana Jones got a trailer, and it's like actually showing off what the game is going to be, which is exactly what we thought the game was going to be. But whoever they have voicing Indy sounds a lot like Harrison Ford in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. I don't know. I have a feeling that game's not going to be good.
Probably not.
Like, yeah, just not a lot of hope for that one.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any actual gameplay in this trailer at all?
I think near the end there's a little bit, but at the same time it might have just all been pre-rendered stuff made to look like gameplay.
Yeah.
Looking at the rest of this, so I don't care about this game, but there's a game called Mixtape, and at the end of this fucking trailer, the logo is a fucking CD player.
I mean,
people called mixtapes or CDs, like custom CDs, mixtapes when we were kids. Like,
also, like literally the like tagline at the beginning was like play to the soundtrack of a generation, and it had bands like Joy Division. Like, I don't fucking know any generation that would be defined by Joy Division.
Also, the trailer starts with her playing a Walkman, playing a Discman.
Those aren't tapes.
But again, like, you don't call it a mixed CD. You call it a mixtape. I'll make you a mixtape.
I don't know. I don't like it. I just that game also looked weird. Like I did not enjoy that trailer.
The animation is awkward.
Yeah, right. It's kind of like clunky.
It's given me Miles Morales before he learns how to be Spider-Man vibes from the.
Yeah, that's a good reference.
The frame rate of characters is off. It's very choppy, but it's just it's a nostalgia fest, it seems, because like sequences were making me think. There's the one sequence where they're running through the backyard, and I'm like, oh, is this Ferris Bueller's Day Off? Like, it's probably going to be just a full-on nostalgia fest of the 90s and 2000s generation of watching movies, older movies and stuff.
Yeah, probably. It's weird. Like, it's hard to tell what era they're really going for. Because again, like, I don't know, to me, this has more of like a late 80s, early 90s vibe to it, but then she has like a Discman, which I would associate more with like early 2000s.
It's probably late 90s. I'd say late 90s.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm not going to play it, so it's fine. One game that I do plan on playing, there's a new Life is Strange. It's called Double Exposure, and it's actually a real sequel. It's going back to the character from the original game, Max, who in that game she had time travel powers.
Mm-hmm.
This one is set several years later, and she ends up with the ability to cross between two different like timelines. So what I'm thinking is, at the end, so spoilers for the original Life is Strange. At the end of that game, you have a choice between saving your friend and the two of you basically like running away together, or letting your friend die like she was apparently supposed to, and saving the town that you both grew up in, including everyone that lives there. Mm-hmm. If you save your friend, the town gets wiped out by like a tornado full of whales. The end of that game got fucking weird. So, they never declared a canon ending. Like, you know how most games will be like, well, this is like the canon ending, like this is just the other ending.
Yeah.
Developers from day one said that like they do not have like a definitive one is the right ending. And no other game focused on those characters post the end of that game. Life is Strange Before the Storm was a prequel, and then Life is Strange 2 and True Colors were unrelated. Like, there were references to like the town and stuff, but not to like anything that would have told us what happened. So in this one, Max has like a new best friend, and she gets murdered. But then Max apparently finds out that she can travel to an alternate universe where her friend is still alive. And the game is set up to be like you are trying to basically find a way to have her not die in your timeline. So what I'm assuming is the two timelines are the two different timelines that the original game created. Mm-hmm. Either one of them where Chloe is dead, one where Chloe's alive. And the death is all Max's fault. It's always her fault.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it, because I really liked that original Life is Strange game. And I think I saw that Deck 9 is actually the ones working on it. And frankly, Before the Storm, the prequel that they worked on was like, it was a better game, like as far as like the narrative goes, than the original Life is Strange, which was done by who did the place that did that vampire game. Maybe that was Deck 9. I don't know. Hang on. Now I'm annoyed because I can't remember the name of the other studio.
I don't know what vampire game you're talking about.
It was literally called Vampire with a Y.
Oh.
Don't Nod was the ones that did the original one, right? Am I right? Yeah, Don't Nod. Who I think Don't Nod is also they did that Remember Me game from the PS3, if you remember that one.
No, I don't remember you.
What an asshole. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Like, I definitely want to try it. I think Deck 9 actually has just taken over that series because I think they did the previous one too, True Colors, which was actually also well received. So
yeah, I've never gotten into the Life is Strange series. No, don't know why. Just never have.
They're a good narrative game with like puzzles. So like they're not quite like they're not like a walking simulator, but like there's also not like heavy gameplay to them. But they tell like pretty interesting stories.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm looking forward to that one. Mecha Break looks cool just because it's giant fucking robots. It's Gundams. They just can't call them Gundams.
That did look real cool.
Yeah, like it looks fucking cool. And there's a Gears of War prequel.
Yeah, I would watch the trailer. It's another. I mean, I thought we already had. Well, we did. We had Judgment, but it takes place before Gears of War 1. This is Emergence Day when the
bug people came.
Locusts, right?
I think so. I've never
I can't remember
Gears.
They're fine. I was into them. I thought they were decent. But I haven't played since Gears 3. I know I played Judgment, which came out after Gears 3. I haven't played since Gears 3. I don't know what's going on in the story. It really didn't make sense because at the end of Gears 3, you were supposed to have had killed all of the bad guys with this super weapon that wipes out all of the blood of the bad guys. And yet, in Gears 4 and 5, like, they're still around.
But so it's also like 20 to 30 years later.
But you should have wiped out all of their DNA, which means they shouldn't have existed.
Well,
they shouldn't exist anymore, or something like that.
I mean, so I never played Gears 3. Did it wipe them out of the entire universe?
It wiped them out of Earth, and they weren't. I don't think they were spacefaring. Like they came from the ground.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The ground. They came from underground. I'm pretty sure that's why it's called Emergence Day.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, like I played like a chunk of Gears 1, like the remaster they did. And like I had fun with it. It's just for whatever reason I never got into those games, even though I thought they seemed neat.
They're juvenile and childish, especially the dialogue. Cliffy B was not good at dialogue.
It was Cliffy B at like his peak of being
Cliffy B,
that guy.
Yeah. So like
now he's out there funding fucking Broadway musicals and winning Tony Awards and
really
making comic books about his dog.
Nice.
Yeah, like that dude quit games after like his studio didn't work out, and he's just he took his millions of fucking dollars and he's like, I'm gonna go win some Tony Awards now. He's
nice.
He's like one of the producers and investors on the show Hades, that Alex Boniello also won a Tony for. And yeah, he has a comic book. I forget the name of it, but it's basically his dog as a superhero. So like, yeah, very, very different from the dude who made like the game with the fucking gun with a chainsaw on it.
Yeah.
But, you know, people grow up, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Gears was the final game. I will say, like, Xbox's show, like, I did watch the majority of it. I didn't skip a lot unless I just wasn't into the trailer. Their showcase was actually pretty good. Like, it was just, it was trailer after trailer. They weren't wasting a lot of time. They weren't super long trailers. They had 3 little breaks where, like, Phil Spencer talked at the beginning, Matt Booty talked in the middle, and Sarah Bond talked at the end. So, like, they didn't waste a lot of time with stuff that people didn't care about or that weren't produced well. And they definitely kept it up between, like, bigger games that are definitely going to get people interested, like Doom and Gears of War. And then, like, some of these smaller ones, like the South of Midnight or Fable, this weird little indie game no one's ever heard of. And even some of the other ones, like Winterboro, I didn't mark on here, but, like, it kind of looks like a storybook game. And, like, it was a very pretty art style. I just don't really know what the game is going to end up being like. But, like, it was a pretty solid showcase after several since the pandemic, there really hasn't been, like, in my opinion, like a good showing like this. Because, like, frankly, Games Fest is usually, it's fine. Like, no one's showing off their big game at Game Fest.
Right.
Like, and Sony didn't have any big games to show at their thing. Like, theirs was actually pretty just normal. Like, it wasn't like what you'd expect for this time of year, because normally they'd be coming out with, like, their big one to show the latter half of the year games. And instead it just felt like any other PlayStation Direct or whatever the fuck they're called.
Mm-hmm.
State of Play. There we go.
Yeah.
And I assume a Nintendo thing will happen at some point. Maybe.
I think it's next week.
Never saw a date. Nintendo just said that they are definitely going to have one in the second half of June. So who knows? Nintendo has a tendency of just announcing it like the day before they're going to happen, though, too. So
yeah.
Well, it'll be on a Thursday, and we'll find out Wednesday at 6 p.m.
Yeah.
But
one real quick thing about Doom is that is coming to PS5.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Nice.
I was like, oh yeah, cool, good. Also weird, a Microsoft published game will be on PlayStation.
Hey man, it's fucking MLB is on Xbox, right?
Yep.
Rich, do you want to talk a little bit about your weekend?
Yeah, we can go
wrap things up.
A few minutes, 5-10 minutes on it. So yeah, I celebrated my 3-year stream anniversary this year. Sunday the 9th was my third year in a row. It was my official end of third year, so I'm in year 3 going into year 4 next year. So whatever, however you
Sunday was your actual anniversary?
Sunday was the anniversary, yes. June 9th is the first. June 9th was the first time I streamed 3 years ago. First time I streamed to be a streamer 3 years ago. I had streamed prior to then. There's a couple of backlog streams from when up on YouTube from when I was just streaming through my PS3, PS4, whatever it was. But June 9th last year was when I was like, I'm going to start streaming.
Not last year.
Or 3 years ago, 2021.
So your first stream was on a Wednesday.
I guess so. I mean, that's based on my YouTube records. I have uploaded a video, and I uploaded my first stream, and it says this is from my first stream in a long time on June 9th, and I was playing No Man's Sky.
That sounds right.
Because I wanted to lean a little bit more on survival and exploration games like this on stream, but then eventually just decided to turn it into, I'm just going to play whatever the fuck I want.
As you should.
Yeah. Let's see. No, hold on. Maybe I lied. I have a 6-8. Maybe I lied.
You fucking liar.
No, here we go.
I take back my subscription from Saturday now. If that wasn't your anniversary, the whole world's a lie.
I play, and I guess apparently it was 6-1. I thought for some reason I thought it was 6-9. I don't know. Whatever. It's my 3-year anniversary. Either way, it's it doesn't actually matter the exact day. Why did I think it was 6-9? I think 6-9 is the first. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird.
But how did your streaming go?
16. So the stream went great. It went wonderful. I did a stream event, which I called the Moon Rush, where I played Super Mario Odyssey, and for every bits and subs, new follows, whatever, added a total number of moons I had to play. I'd been leading up to it, talking about it for the past month and a half, so new followers and whatnot throughout the month of May added to that total. Subs in June before the event also added to that total. We started the day with having to get 10 moons, and then very quickly it jumped up to about 300 moons. Very quickly in, I can't remember. And then by the end of it all, by the end of the weekend, by the end of Sunday, it's a total of 669 moons that I have to get. So we have a lot of moons. I ended up with about 304 moons by the end of the 2 days. And it was a blast. It was a good time. I absolutely love Mario Odyssey. I've been really wanting to replay that, and so it's not often that I really want to replay a game. but Mario Odyssey was one of those games I'm like, I just really want to get back into it again. And so this is my way to do it because, look, and this is how I explained it on stream. Let's face it, I'm old. I can't do a subathon anymore. I can't do 24 hours. I can't do 36, 48 hours. Like, I can't figure out how to do that. I'm not going to try. So, instead, you're going to make me, by subbing, you're making me do work that I probably would never do, which is get all the moons in a Mario game or something like that. And I had fun with it. I made up all the lists, which I ended up changing. So at one point I had it planned 50 bits for 1 moon, 200 bits for 5 moons, and then it was 500 bits for 10 moons. Which then, as I'm like getting the stream started and set up, I share that information. I'm like, wait, that math doesn't work, because then why you can get more moons you can get the same amount of moons by doing 400 bits than you would if you did 500. So then I had to change it, and I had to change it. 500 bits got you 15 moons, which then I had to change the 1,000 bits, which was 25, to be 40. So this way it was worth your money. I wanted it to be worthwhile to pay up, to pay higher.
Right, which makes sense.
I didn't want to just double it. I wanted to double it and then some. I designed this event for bits because I'm going to be honest. Cobb, you spent like $40 on subs, give or take.
So I actually spent almost nothing.
How you gifted a bunch of subs though?
I did. So I had
or whatever. I don't know.
I had over $40 in Google survey rewards. Yeah. That there's just nothing for me to fucking spend them on because I don't buy apps. I don't buy like digital content from Google. Yeah. But I just do the surveys whenever I had them. So it was basically like, all right, well, here's my Twitch Prime sub because that's free. I don't have anything else to use it on. And then I think I spent like 30 on like the gifted subs, and then the rest I gave you in bits.
Yeah. So let's just go with the 30 in gifted subs. You want to know how much I get from that? I get maybe
$2?
$2.50 per sub, give or take. So I get maybe $13, $14 for 30. It's $15-ish, give or take. Not even. I get about half. If you had spent that money on bits, I would have gotten twice as much as I got from the subs.
Well, I did not know that.
And you would have pushed more moons my way.
You should have said something.
You would already. I can't take away your 5 gifted subs, but that's like I even had like the stretch goals set up for bits, and so which reminds me, I'm pretty sure I have to put your name on my cast, Cobb.
Yeah, I did give some actual money in bits too.
I think you did 1,500 bits. There's like 3 people that did. It was 1,500 bits total from somebody. 1,500 or more bits total from somebody that their name gets put on my cast.
I did like 2,200 total.
Yeah,
I did like 1,000 with mostly Google rewards, and then I gave you. I think at one point you were very close to like hitting like another like milestone of moons. I think you were almost at 500 moon.
Yeah.
And I was looking at it and I'm just like, well, the easiest thing to do is to just give you bits at that point.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, okay, here's just more of those. Let's get you over the 500 mark. Cuz basically I wanted you to have to get into like the hard levels like post like end game.
Yeah, the darker side of the moon.
Yeah, like the stuff where it gets challenging.
Yeah, which like I want to have to try to get into that, but at this point we have 365 moons to get, so I can start from the first world and just go forward to get all the moons before going back there. But I had blast. It was funny that I was like I built this for like I wanted to reward subs, but I wasn't promoting like goals for subs. My sub goals are just my monthly goals. So we will be doing a D&D stream next month because we reached 22 subs. But it's actually potential that there's going to be more added to that because that doesn't include just my general monthly subs. That's just the total 22 subs that I had from the event.
Right.
My current sub number is... Hold on, I'm pulling up my analytics. I currently have 27 subs. So I don't know how much that's going to change, add or subtract or whatever. But 25 subs is, I think I had that listed as the Ring Fit stream, which it'll be for next month. But if we get to 30, it'd be a Lego building stream, I think. I have to double check. Just to remember what I have, because I don't ever remember. Let's see. No, 20 subs is D&D, 25 is a Ring Fit stream. Yeah, 30 subs. So if we get to 30, it would be a Lego building stream as well. So we're doing a Mario Kart, a Spooky, a Jackbox, a D&D stream, and a full Ring Fit stream next month, which I should be out of the cast by then. I can figure out a way to do 2 to 3 hours of Ring Fit out of the cast. But it was a good time. I just found it funny that like we got you guys blew it up with subs. And I was like, I was trying to push more for bits, but that's fine. I'm not sad. I'm just I had stretch goals for bits. And look, there was a lot. 100,000 bits. I shaved my beard and cosplay Fezzik from Princess Bride, which we obviously didn't reach, but we did reach the 5,000 marker, which means I have to play Resident Evil 2 Remake on hardcore mode.
Nice.
Which I'm excited for.
Cool.
And to be fair, like until actually trying to get them on your channel, I really did not understand what bits were or how much they cost. Yeah. So gifting subs was very easy, and I knew from my phone it would immediately prompt me to use my Google credits.
Yeah.
And like frankly, like the bits menu was actually kind of confusing. Like not overly, but like it was more cumbersome than it should have been.
I mean, I don't know how it looks on phone. I just know how it looks on.
It's awkward on phones.
Yeah,
I confirm.
I only look at Twitch on desktop, so it's like you click the bit button and then it has a list of bits. 100 bits is $1.40, which I get $1 from 100 bits. 1,500 bits is $19.95. I get $15 from your $20. I get 15. Whereas if you did $20 in subs, which is $5 per sub, so that's 4 subs, I get $10. So I would have gotten $5 more if you had done $20 in subs over $20 in bits. It's
right.
Again, the money amount that I get isn't drastic, but it's still
there is like a legitimate difference between
there is a difference because bits are more made as a donation type of currency on Twitch and less made for a I don't know. I don't really know. Like, I don't know why. I could also just have set up donations straight up, but I don't know how that works with taxes. This bits get all still billed through Twitch, so I'd much rather just do that right now. I don't want to have to worry about.
Which makes sense.
I don't want to have to worry about being like, oh, these people donated me money and give that and put that on my tax forms and whatnot. I don't want to worry about that right now.
Which it's probably low enough that you don't necessarily have to worry about it, but at the same time, like. Yeah, but it's just easier to let Twitch do all the hard work.
Yeah, it was nice. I appreciate all of the support that everyone sent my way. Both fortunately and unfortunately, it really seemed like it was just people I know IRL that were sending in subs and donations. I did have 1 or 2 people do some subs and bits outside of like you and Evan, basically. And you, your wife, and Evan, but for the most part, it was just the 3 of yous that got me to the 669. But yeah, it was a fun event, and I am planning on doing it again next year with maybe Mario Galaxy. Also, every time I play Mario Odyssey, these numbers and these rules still take effect. There's one thing I'm not doing anymore, and that's Bean Boozled, because it made me sick.
So what was that?
So Bean Boozled is every flavored beans. You know Harry Potter, every flavored beans?
Yeah.
So it's that. You have a little container. It's a circular container, and you pull it up and push it down, and it gives you a jelly bean. And let's say you got yellow. You either got buttered popcorn or rotten egg.
Oh.
If you got orange, you got peach or barf. If you got red, it's pomegranate or Old Bandage. It's one or the other, and so that's what Bean Boozled is. It's like it's a roulette with jelly beans, and I basically got the bad version. Like, I think I had to do 6 beans total, and 4 out of 6 were the bad version.
Oh, that sucks.
It made me feel sick.
I mean, understandably, that sounds awful.
I'm probably going to throw away this container of jelly beans. I can't do it. I can't. I'm probably going to get rid of it. Cause it made me feel gross.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fun. I'm going to play Mario Odyssey again this Sunday. So if anybody wants to continue doing it, again, everything that comes in while I'm playing the Odyssey games goes towards the event, and it also goes towards helping me pay for my medical expenses that I've encountered throughout this year. So it's like it's a
good thing to be doing that for.
It's not just I'm not just doing this as a money grab. Like, I'm actually, it's a relatively good cause, like a quote good cause, because it's a cause for me, but I'm not just saying like, hey, give me money and I will play a video game longer. It's, hey, give me money, here's some goals, and it'll help me pay off medical expenses I've encountered throughout the year.
Yeah. But with that, I believe you do have a stream to do, so we should probably wrap it up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Any last things either you guys want to mention?
Nope.
No, that sounds about it.
All right. Well, in that case, if you would like to find more of our content, you can head over to www.one-quest.com. And if you want to help us, support us, give back to us, you can head over to patreon.com/onequest. If you can't support us $0, though, you can go to your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, all those places. Rate us, review us, subscribe to us. It all helps. We have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/onequestvideo. And we are at @1_quest on Instagram and Twitter, and OneQuest online at Facebook, which I don't think I said yet. I don't know. I think I did those all out of order. Whatever.
You did.
Yeah.
You did them all wacky.
Yeah. I was thinking about YouTube because I said Google and it's YouTube. It's all sorts of things. But Rich, what is your streaming?
Twitch.tv/B_Walnuts for video game streaming Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. We'll be playing next Monday. Besides Sunday, when we'll be doing more Mario Odyssey, Monday next week will be my spooky stream where I will be playing Dead by Daylight as Vecna, from D&D fame, as well as.
I think you mean from Stranger Things fame.
No, it's
that's
D&D.
What made it popular.
No, but it's D&D Vecna. It's not Stranger Things. There was already a Stranger Things character in Dead by Daylight, and you can't buy it anymore.
Fine.
It's D&D Vecna. Like, they're also adding an elf character to be a survivor. Like, there's mimics in it and everything. I can't wait to play it. So I'm going to get Vecna for Dead by Daylight. We're going to play that for my spooky stream on Monday next week. We're also playing Tribes of Midgard, Sea of Thieves, and Monster Hunter World, and Pacific Drive. There's a lot of games I'm playing right now because Mario Odyssey is taking an entire day of stream each week, so I'm going to be alternating between other games. So yeah, come check me out.
Nice. And with that, we will be back next week with something else to talk about. Thanks for listening. Bye.
See yous.
Bye.